Hello. Hi, everybody. And welcome back to the classroom. It has been 2 weeks. And I hope that you all get very good rest and eager to come back to the class. I certainly miss you all. Okay, so let's start where we stopped last time. And so today, today's topic here. So we're going to talk about, we're going to finish the sections. We're going to finish section 5.3, and then we're going to start a new chapter. And these chapters will be, we're going to go to the chapter 7. And the chapter 7 is another totally different topics. Like chapter 5, we are talking about a lot like finance, business applications. We talk about the interest, and we talk about the annuity, those things. Then the chapter 7, we totally switch the gear. We're going to talk about a little bit about the statistics. All right. So let's take a look. The first ones here. Let's try to wrap up the section 5.3. So let's do a brief review what we did, right before our spring break. I think if you still remember, we did the first topic we talk about is interest, right? And so we figure, we discuss how to figure the different type of the interest. So we call this the simple interest. And we also have, we call this the compounding interest, right? Okay, so we have these two things here. And also we know the compounding, right? So for the compounding, compounded interest. So for the compounding interest, we also have two different things. So one is a compounding by a certain period, right? So if you said, hey, I'm going to compounding every quarter or every month, and then our future value, this is the formula we use. This is the R divided by N, and this is NTs, right? So if you remember that, and the N is how many times you compounding, and the T is the year. Then the R is the interest rate. As we also talk about in chapter 5, we say if we do not specifically say anything different, then the interest rate will be annual interest rate. Then we also talk about is the continuous. So we also talk about is the continuously compoundings, right? So the continuous compounding, the future value will be the PERT. And the E's here, the E's here is some like the number is similar, like the value, like the pi is an irrational number, is 2.7182 something. Right, so you can find this number in your calculators. Then we also talk about how to use the TI-84 calculator and to do those calculations. So we don't need to remember all the formulas here, right? So then the last things we discussed, and I think if you did your Pearson My Math Lab homework, you should remember we call this annuity. Okay, so the annuities here, we have two kinds of the annuity. One we call it ordinary, right? So another one we call it annuity deal. So it's ordinary annuity, or we have a different name, we call it the sinking fund. Okay, So the major differences, like if you remember the major differences here, we talked before. So if this is the period, right? So in here you have several different periods here. So those periods could be quarter, could be months, could be years, right? So for the ordinary annuity, is the one that means you deposit at the end. So like every end of the period, like end of every quarter, you deposit some money, right? So that's why we said annuity is you deposit. Well, instead of the deposit, maybe we say payment would be better. Okay, so you say this is the payment at the end of your period, right? At the end. That means if you do quarterly, then you deposit a certain amount at every quarter. Then the another ones here is we call this annuity due. So the annuity due is the similar way. So if you have a certain period, right? So here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so if you have a certain period, then you deposit at the beginning. Okay, so that's what we call this annuity due. So you deposit at the beginning of each period here, right? Okay, so that's what at the beginning of each period. So that's why you don't have the last ones there. So this is the payment at the beginnings, right? So that's what we did here. And then that means at the end, right? So at the end, if you want to withdraw, so this is what we say, okay, so if you want to withdraw here, right? So if you say, okay, at this end here, when I finish here, I'm going to withdraw. And the same way is here, you say, hey, at the end of the here, I'm going to withdraw. So basically what you withdraw, so the money you withdraw, this is what we call is the future value. Right? So that's why the annuity most, the way you deposit the most useful way is like you try to, for example, you try to save for your retirements, right? So that's what we call it the future value. So in the TI-84, if you use the FV, that means that's the future values here, right? So just like here, this is FV, is the future value. And then each payments here, this is what in the TI-84 you call it is a PMT. So that's why is each payment here, right? So in the TI-84, if you do the annuity due at the beginning of each one, then you need to choose the function is the beginning. And if you do the ordinary annuity, you choose the end, right? So that's what we did before, we went to the spring break. And it's kind of like, if you use the TI calculator, it's pretty easy, right? So now we are going to introduce another new terms here. It's really is equivalent to the annuities here, right? So what we introduce here is we call this the present value. So what is the present value for the payment? So like in here, you start a deposit like $1,000, for example, at the end of each period. At the end, you will get a certain amount, right? So future value is this values here. So this is the present value. That means, the present value, that means, at the future values here, how much you need to will be equivalent if you put a big lump sum at the beginning and with the same interest rate, you will reach the same value as your future value. So that's what we call is the present value is the lump sums here, right? So for the here is the same way, you will have a present values here, right? So here, this is the present value. So it's the same thing. That means if you put a big lump sums here, how much, how much, what is going to, how much is the lump sum here? If you put it into the same interest rate, it will going to give you the same value as your future values. All right. So let's try to write it out. What is the present value? So also in your TI calculator, you use the PV. All right. So the present value, so here, the present value of an annuity, the present value of an annuity is the amount. Is the amount have to be deposited in one lump sum today, that means right now, right? In order to produce exactly the same balance or the same amount at the end all right. So let's miss so the keyword here, right? So let's tell you annuity is the amount is a lump sum amount, right? So that means and you want to deposit at a present time, so it will produce the same values at the end of the n years. Okay, so let's take a look at this and let's take a look how we're going to apply this present value concept. And so we will be able to calculate our mortgage payment, car loan, those things. All right. Okay, so now let's take a look here, right? Okay, so I'm going to put a problem down and then later I'm going to show you and how to use the TI calculator. So I'm going to change it to a different screen right now. Okay, so let's take a look at the first examples here. Okay, the first example is I have two people here, right? So we have a Tim and we also have a Carol. So both of them, they want to save certain amount of the money and at the end of the 9 years, okay? So what the Tim will do, so he said he will put $900 or 500, okay? So he will put a $500 at the end of each year. For 9 years. Okay, and so here that means the teams, that means in here at the end of each year. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means the team's going to deposit 500 here, 500 here, 500 here, 500 here. Right, so each one here is 500. Right? So that's what is the team going to do. Then the Carol says here, so we want to see, the Carol said, well, I don't want to do by year. So I just want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Carol said, hey, instead of doing by years, I don't want to do it. And I want to just put a lump sum here. Okay, so I want to put some lump sum here. And so both of them, that the bank they work on, the bank of them work on is 7.5% interest rate. So this is the interest rate. So the bank they work on is give you 7.5% interest rate, right? So the carrier said, hey, instead of doing 500, I just want to find what is the equivalent amount. So till the end here, right? So till when they both reach the end here, right? When they both reach the end, they will have the same amount. So that's what is the question said, how much, the carrier need to put here. Okay, so now let's take a look how, how I'm going to use the TI calculator to help you see here, right? So I'm going to switch to the TI calculator. So here, let me see here, right? So here I will going to stop the sharing here, and then now I'm going to share the TI calculator. Okay. Okay, so here, this is the TI calculator. And like we did it before, so here's the TI calculators, right? So we said, let's refresh our memory. So we use the apps. So we use the finance, then we use the TVM solver. Okay, so now the first thing here is 9 years because I put the payment at the end of the 9 each year. So I only have 9 years. The interest rate is 7.5. So it's 7.5. And we don't know the present value. Clear that out, put it 0. So remember the payment, right? So the payment is the number out of your pocket. So you always need a negative number. So you do the negative 500. And I do not care about the future value. So team pay once a year. So this is 1. So then that's why. And here the compounding once a year also, right? Okay, and also team pay at the end of the year. So you choose end. Now I'm going to find the present value. Remember you use alpha and enter. So the present value is 3189.44. You got that? Okay, so now let's go back to here. Then I'm going to share back my whiteboard again. Okay, so that means here. So this is 3189.44. Right? So that means, I'm sorry, this is not in here. I'm sorry, it's not in here. So the here, that means the carer, carer need to put 3189.44. That means if Carol put the $3,189 at the beginning of the 9 years, then Tim is put the $500 each year, then they will get the same amount. Okay, so this same amount, if you do want to calculate this same amount, you can use the TIAT for calculator to calculate what is the future values. Okay, so it's pretty good. Okay, so now let's do another examples here, right? So let's see how do we do that. So these examples here is we're going to take a look how do we do the car payment. Okay, so these ones here, I know this car costs about 19,000. Okay, and you put down 2,000 as the down payment. Okay, and so you want to pay off you want to pay off in 36 months. That means 3 years, right? And then with interest rate 6%, that's kind of a high. Most of the car interest rate is about like 3%. That is fine. This is just examples here, right? So what is your payment? So the first things here, let's take a look. Right? So this is like a 36 months. And at the end of each month, right? So you want to pay. So like, so now take a look here, right? So you have the car cost 19,000, but you put down 2,000 here. So that means currently this car right in here, right now at this moment, this car's present value is 17,000, right? Right, that's what we call this. The present value is right now this car U is worth is like the 17,000 is the payment you need to pay through. So that's why in here then you have like a 36 months, right? So you have 36 months. So I want to figure how much I need to pay off at each month. Then I will get my present value is 17,000. Okay, so now let's take a look how I use the TI calculator to do that. Right, let me stop sharing the whiteboard. Then let's see here. What is this one? So stop sharing. Okay, so now I'm going to share my TI calculator again. Okay, so when I share my TI calculator, okay, so let's clear this out. So let's do apps and the finance, the TVM. Okay, now in here, right? So here, I'm going to pay off in the 36 months. So right now is 36. The interest rate is 6%. So I put a 6% there. Present value, let's clear out. The present value is how much you are going to do the payment. So the present value of the car you're going to pay off is 17,000. You don't know your payment yet. You don't know your, okay? So your payment you're going to pay 12 each year. So it's a compound every month. So at the end, then you go back to here, you do the payment, right? So you do the alpha calculator. So the payment is $517. So let me stop sharing here and sharing back to my whiteboard. Okay, so that means we calculate is 517 point what 17. That means at the end of each month, your payment is 517.17. So this is 517.17, right? Okay, clear? Okay, and so the same thing is your home mortgage, right? So the home mortgage is the same way. So let's take a look at let's do our last example, then we can take a look at what type of so here. So now the mortgage is here. So let's take a look at the examples here. So, okay, so a house is a house cost. So a house here costs, a house costs like, 275,000. Wow, it's a pretty fancy house. And then you pay down the down pay. You paid off 55,000. And the interest rate, so you are taking 30 years loan. Okay, you are taking a 30 years loan and interest rate is 6%. Okay, so how much you need to pay? Okay, so says here still the same, right? So you have each month here, so So 30 years and times 12. So how much you have? You have 360 months, right? So you have 360 months here. Okay, so that means then the 275,000 minus you already pay off the 55,000. So you have a 225,000. Okay, so remember what is 225,000? Here, that means this house right now, right? So this house right now is 22,225, right? 55,220. I'm sorry, 220. Okay, so it's 220. So this one's here is 220. Okay, so this is a 220. Okay, so now this is how much your house is worth, right? So now what you try to do here, you want to find out the monthly payment for your house. So let's go back to the calculator and let's do it one more time and see we be able to stop sharing. Come on. So stop sharing. Okay, now do the sharing to my calculator. Okay, so now let's do this again. Let's clear this out. Okay, so let's do one more time to see we'll be able to reproduce it or not. Okay, so you do the apps here, finance, TVN, and then now, you know, it's 30 years, right? 30 years, 12 months. So it's 360 is your end. Interest rate is 6%, and the present value is how much the left for your house. So right now, this is you pay off the 55,000, so you still have 220,000, right? So I don't know the payment plan, and I don't know future value. Yeah, so that's it. Then you do your payment. You do a alpha enter. So it's $1,319 a month. Good. All right, so now, okay, so now you find out your payments here. So each month, your payment is 1319.01. All right, so that's how do we use the same, so the annuity concept can be applied, you know, to your loan, like your mortgage, your car loan, and so to make sure you understand the differences between different terminologies, right? So like these values here, we call it the present value, right? And these values here, like at the end, if you withdraw, right? So if you here, right? So if you withdraw, if you withdraw or calculate how much, so this is your future value, right? And then each one's here, this is your payment. Okay, so you have many, many payments alone. So as long as you know those definitions, I think you will be pretty good. You should be able to, you know, finish the problems here. So we finish this section 5.3. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to the blackboard and under the contents here, and I put the classwork here, right? I put it just like we did in the class. Go to this classwork and you do the classwork on the March the 30th folders, right? And the classwork number 1 is related to what we just talked about here. Okay, so make sure you get the classwork done in a timely fashions. It is very easy and it's only like 3 problems. Just try to refresh your memory so you will be able to do when you go to the, do the My Math Labs homework. All right. So don't forget to do that. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email and I should respond to your email within the 24 hours. Okay, so I'm so glad we'll be able to come back to our classroom, even this is an online classroom, but I think it still is good, right? So I think the online learning have its pros and cons. It's not a face-to-face, but I really think the online learning is also is good is because, I recorded this. Sometimes I went very fast. You can always go back to my the video and re-looked it. And then the notes here, you'll be able to copy down. And so I won't erase it, right? Okay, so keep up with the good work and hopefully we'll be able to see each other before the semester ends, and then we have a face-to-face class again. Otherwise, I will try to record those sections. If you have a question, make sure you send me an email. If you need to do a face-to-face talk, and we can do that, send me an email and I can open the online tools and then we can see each other through the video, not really face-to-face, but we still can see each other's face. All right, and so that's all I have for today. Okay, so that's all I have for today, and I hope you all enjoyed, and so keep up with the good work, okay? So I will talk to you next time. Okay, bye.